Now when the C-Line FD1 came out, it was a great fairway driver. Nice and overstable, dependable when you thrown hard. It was a great disc. That is for pros, or those with a lot of power in their throw. For AMs, not so much. It was a little too overstable, not super workable, not a ton of glide, very difficult to get decent distance with unless you could throw it over 400 feet. Now this week releases the Horizon FD1. This is the Skywalker, releases on Wednesday, and I'm really hoping this would be just a little bit straighter of an FD1 to still be that dependable, trustworthy fairway driver, but a little bit more usable for us AMs, specifically us who throw a little bit less than 400 feet. Now, if you watched my FD1 review, I talked about how this was basically like Discmania's T-Bird, because for the longest time they couldn't have the T-Bird because Innova made them and they just didn't, they don't want them to have their like #1 selling staple fairway driver. But now that they make their own discs, they're able to have it. And this is just like a T-Bird. It has that sharp rim on the edge, it has that little lip on the bottom, and it just has that more stable and dependable feel in the hand. And the C-Line was very comparable to like the more overstable T-Birds that have come out. Like the Brinster T-Bird, for example, this was very much like that. Very overstable, might be even a little bit more overstable, a little bit less glide, but it was very comparable to the old Brinster T-Birds that a lot of the pros absolutely loved. The AMs thought they loved it because they wanted to be like Paul McBeth, but it was really only the pros that could get like a dependable distance on it, like the FD1. But in the Horizon plastic, I know they've had discs that have come out in this plastic before, but this just feels really good in the hand. Has a little bit more grip than the C-Line plastic, and this is actually stiffer than the C-Line FD1. It's about like 85 degrees outside, and it's still holding its own and holding its stiffness. It's not very gummy at all, and in room temperature, it's pretty, like not rock solid, but it's like very good stiffness that still has just a touch of give to it to give you that good grip when you're about to throw it. This is like top of the line plastic. Plus these swirls, these look so sick on the rim here. One of the best looking discs. And the ones that have like the teal with a teal stamp and purple rims, those are probably my favorite ones. But these do have like a touch more dome on them. They're not domey by any means, but they have that like little touch of dome, almost like perfect in my opinion. And it feels like the wing does come down a little bit more than the FD1 does, which could mean it's a little less stable. So that's exactly what I want. Now to do that, I wanted to find like the most understable version that it came with, and we got 3 different colors here, and I actually looked at the different wing heights of them, and the teal one, the teal rimmed one, seemed to have the lowest wing on them, which I've talked about that in previous videos about how the wing height, the lower the wing, the more understable it is. So these ones have like a touch lower wing than the C-Line, but it being different plastics, I don't know if that's gonna be the same stability or more or less, I don't know, but this one had the lowest wing out of all of them, and it was significantly lower than the C-Line one. So this is the one that I'm gonna be testing out today. And I actually got a run of like T-Bird like discs to compare it to. So we've got the Evader, which is like, I would say like the perfect stability for me. It's a very workable, stable driver for AMs, but I don't think it'll be this understable. That's just more of like a placement. Then I got the T-Bird 3 Overstable S-Line Star T-Bird, the Brinster T-Bird that I compared the C-Line to. The C-Line was very close to this. Then I got the C-Line FD1 to kind of see where this one kind of falls into. So I'm curious to how much this is gonna push forward. We're gonna try to throw these all flat. Woo! That actually has some glide on it. That's really nice. It almost feels faster than the T-Bird. We're gonna go the Brinster one. Yeah, I think that's faster than the standard T-Bird, but oh, I scooped that. Yeah, that Evader definitely has some turn on it. Might need to put a fresh one in there.
I found this on the web.
Get out of here, Siri. Jeez, that thing's so stable. Yeah, see, that one's just so hard to throw. Oh yeah. See, that one like pushes forward more. That's kind of what I want for like an amateur stable fairway. Let's see if this Skywalker can replicate that. Yeah. No, I think that's a little bit more stable, maybe. All right, now we're gonna put some flex on it. See how well this holds, how much it pushes forward. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That was just like a touch of turn. I don't think that was quite as much. Man, it feels more stable than my T-Bird 3, but it goes farther and takes a little less effort, which is great. The Vader. Yeah, that one, a slight headwind. That one's very workable. But that one I almost want a more stable version. But the FD1's nice. Here's the original. Jeez. That thing's beefy, dude. This is very beefy. Now let's see this on forehand, because I bet if I get it clean, should be pretty nice. Yeah. Oh, come on. Should be pretty nice. That, scooped it. Pretty nice. Yeah. See? Pretty nice. Casey, Discmania, you guys did a great job with these. This is what I would call like the ideal stable / slightly overstable fairway driver for AMs. Because something that I look for in that slot is something that like I can trust that it's not gonna turn, especially in like light winds. If I cannot go right by any means on the backhand, then I can trust it not to turn over. But also give me the distance that I want, like down the fairway without having to absolutely crank on it. Because the original C-Line FD1, this one was dependable that it won't turn right for me, but you really have to like crank on it to get any kind of distance down the fairway with it, which is fine for someone like Casey White or like any other pro. You can rip on this, trust it, and it gives you good distance. But for my arm speed, I just couldn't get much workability out of this. This was more like a utility driver that was like, it was in a tweener spot for me, kind of like what I mentioned with the torque. It just doesn't fit in my bag. This one, this is exactly what I'm looking for like that stable / slightly overstable fairway. Something I can rip on. It doesn't take a ton of effort. I don't have to rip on it 100% to get any distance on it. A good like 75–80% power. I can trust that it's gonna push and glide forward before it fades. But it gives me a lot of dependability, even like with a slight breeze and even on a flex, like that downhill flex shot that I threw. Like when that's pinned in the long position, that's one of my favorite holes in Kansas City, because there's actually OB on the right side, like down the hill. So you don't want to go down the hill right, go OB, but you want to get good distance down there. This is something that you can like slight anhyzer and get the distance down the hill, but you can trust this that it's gonna come back and fight out and not go OB to the right. This is a very like consistent shot for that hole, especially like in a slight breeze. It's a little breezy today. Like when I threw my evader on the same line, it just held because the wind just took it. This one, the wind didn't take it. It still just flexed out and gave me really good distance. It's a beautiful thing. But even when I threw this on forehand, this still held pretty well. Like I missed my line a few times, but none of the times did it just roll over. So it still has that stability to like get a good solid forehand in and get good distance with it. Because when I got a clean release on it, this went just as far as if I went like with it backhand. So like over like around like 320. It was just really nice. I'm just super impressed. You guys did such a good job on this disc. Now that's the teal one. So if you're wanting one that's a little bit more workable out of the ones that we got, the teal rimmed ones are gonna be this. It's gonna be exactly what I had in this video. The blue rimmed one and the purple rimmed ones are a little more stable, but the wing was still a little lower than the C-Line. So I'm guessing it'll still push forward more, but it'd be a little bit more stable than this. But if you're wanting a workable one, these teal rimmed ones, great. And I'm still waiting, Discmania, when you put this out in an S-line plastic and that's even straighter. These would be very good T-Bird replacements. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.